What epic music that is. The children, oh, the own Messiah. Greatest music ever, right? Yeah. So this is my introduction to Warhammer. And I picked this up at the market. So what are we looking at here? This is the White Dwarf magazine. Issue number 480. Happy birthday, Henry Cavill. I don't know. I'm directing you to this video from my Instagram. Some of you might know my Instagram. I'm not going to put up my Instagram. My Instagram is mostly personal, but it's there if you can find me. But anyway, happy 40th birthday. Here's to 40 more years. Just, you know, don't overwork yourself like Jamie Foxx. Jamie Foxx is in the hospital. Wish him luck. But pace yourself, my man. I'm about 5 years older than Henry Cavill. By the time I left high school, he started high school, right? So, White Dwarf. This is Warhammer 40K, Warhammer Age of Sigmar. I know fuck all about Warhammer. Now, the reason why is because I'll just show you, okay? He-Man, Pac-Man, right? Zelda, Nintendo, Pikachu, Dungeon. Well, I don't even collect that much D&D. I mean, there's so much. I have Superman comics. I have, you know, Masters of the Universe. I have so many other things. Star Wars, Star Trek. I mean, to me, Warhammer is just like the 5,000th fiction to me. There's so many fictions out there. How many fictions on one or two hands can you think of right now, the people watching this, that you haven't gotten to yet? You haven't gotten to that fiction. I mean, there's The Walking Dead, maybe. Battlestar Galactica, The Expanse. All kinds. I mean, if you think about old television shows like Route 66 or... fuck, I mean, how about The Avengers? Not Marvel Avengers, but John Steed and Emma Peel. You know, the original 60s show with the spy show. Or James Bond movies. I mean, there's so many. Or the Sherlock Holmes stories. And Henry Cavill played Sherlock Holmes in one of the movies, in one of the shows. So, there's so many fictions out there that, you know, in a way, I don't really care about this. Not because I think it's shit or not. I think it's great. But it's so much more fiction for me to hold on to. It's like there's just fiction overload. And I'm sorry that Warhammer is the victim of that. It receives. But what I am going to do here is, because I picked this up at my supermarket last week, and I made it my honor to at least go through this book and take a look at it and see what it's all about. So I'm going to open the book, and I'm just going to tell you. So in this magazine, it's a magazine for people who play the game. Now, what it really is for most people, even like people like Henry, in between acting and working on his PC, because I'm sure that Star Wars girl, Anna, loves that. Watched Henry Cavill. She explodes. What does she say? Her uterus explodes for Henry Cavill. Henry likes to paint Warhammer miniatures, and I think Angry Joe does too. It's a painstaking thing, and if you just paint the figures and you don't play the games, that's fine too. I mean, as long as you're doing something, right? At least most people probably get into the hobby of collecting those little figures and then putting them on their shelf, and you have a whole shelf of Warhammer figures, and you collect hundreds, if not thousands, of these things. But this is a X marks the spot sort of territory mystery land game. Map campaign. So a map campaign here. X marks the spot. This is the different art in here for Warhammer. This is 40K here. What I remember about Warhammer is it's a lot like Star Trek, but it's more like stormtroopers in the Empire, like Star Wars. So imagine you have going and exploring space, but you're there to play Monopoly. You're there to play Risk. You're not there to explore and play hide and seek and shake hands with people. You're there to play Risk. And that's what Warhammer is. and there's an emperor of the whole universe or whatever. And so you've got these different factions. There's these factions that were there before time. The universe makers. If I'm bastardizing this, I'm sorry. I have to bastardize this because I don't know. Age of Sigmar. This might be the prequel. This looks like a prequel to 40K. Because if this looks like it takes place in ancient times, this looks like it takes place. Somebody in the comment section will give me more trivia for this, okay? Because I can kind of spot these things now after looking at hundreds of fictions. I don't know what these are. These are more miniatures. I want to be respectful, but pardon me if I sound inept, because that's just how it is. So we got, oh, look at these miniatures. Now, these miniatures look great. I do not have the patience to paint anything like this. You have to get like a little, you have to like get one of those magnifying glasses. Let me see if I have one. I believe I have one somewhere. Well, I don't have one. But you have to get like a magnifying glass, right? And then you put the magnifying glass on, it has to be small, like a monocle. You wear like a monocle, and then you get one of those like little toothpicks, and you can paint your figures like this. That's what you have to do. There's more stuff. Let me kind of go through. Okay, these are some interesting figures here. And you can kind of see the detail on these. I mean, it's really about, I don't know what these guys are. These are custom ones, actually. Yeah, these are custom ones. These custom paint figures. So these look great. And then there's this all-powerful, what is this one? Magnus the Red. Does anybody know who that is? Anybody know about Magnus the Red? So that's that guy. And I'm just gonna, Cuphead. I got Cuphead. I got Pac-Man there. This is one section. The Worlds of Warhammer. The war-torn galaxy of the 41st millennium is a place of violence. No shit. Look at all these guys here. What is this all about? So I have no real expertise, but I figured I'd do something for the man who played Superman. And I'm going to skip some pages in here. Oh, look at this. This is some great stuff right here. Look at these miniatures right here. So, in the grim darkness of the far future, there was only war. And here you got, oh my God, look at this. Look at this. Look at this. What is all this about? It kind of reminds me of HeroScape. Now, in HeroScape, the figures are mostly painted. There's a Marvel edition, too. And I don't know if you can get those HeroScapes on Amazon, but I know you can get them on eBay. In HeroScape, you're using hexagons. I'm not sure if that's the case. I don't think that's the case for this one. This section's called A Regal Reckoning. So this is the 40K, Flashpoint Net Film. Okay, I'm going to kind of flip around these things. Yeah, we'll do about 15 minutes worth of this total. Aeon's Old Majesty. The very dynamic and semi-autonomous legions which each played their part in enacting the Silent King's imperious plans. I see. There is so much lore. It's like, to me, 40K is like a lore overload. Like, imagine being thrown into this. My advice to Henry is this: if you're gonna introduce the general public to Warhammer, you gotta make it Warhammer for dummies, because I'm a dummy right now. I don't know what is going on. Here's the campaign. This is the Rising Tomb campaign. This is these are the maps that are in this book. So, a Rising Tomb campaign is one ideally suited for 2 to 4 players, allowing the group to string together a tense and exciting narrative over a few weeks of play. Players will build a map consisting of different districts and explore together, battling one another in the games of Warhammer 40,000 as they do so. So they'll gain new abilities and all that stuff. It's kind of, I mean, if you know your games, right? I mean, I know how to play board games. I just don't know how to play. I mean, there's so many. Look at all these little strategies. You got these little strategies here. This is radiation value 1 and 2. I mean, as a game itself, I could play it, but, you know, I guess the full experience is to paint your figures, and then once you're done painting them, then you, yeah, so here's the, inside are the exact markings. So, This one is Abandoned Hab District. So there's Archeo Vaults, High Security Quarters. Henry knows what these are. It's like, oh, I know what these are. And see, they're blank in the back. So you reveal them as you go along. So I picked this up for like $11 at my Ralph's. Experiencing the experience. Yes, no shit. Echoes from the Warp. Oh, look at these figures here. Let me read some of this. Flow, as a term within certain disciplines of psychology, refers to a mental state that the human body can enter into. Video games. So it's the human brain. So they're kind of going on about... this is his perspective. It's more of an opinion piece. But look at this stuff right here. This is amazing. I mean, if you just like to paint figures and don't play the games, I mean, I can't blame you. I mean, I'm sure I don't have any patience for this shit. None of it. None of it. None of it. I have no patience. Look at this stuff here. All these figures here. All these figures. Look at all these figures. That's an amazing set right there. I can understand from a remote point of view. Kill, team, and engage. Here's another set, and this is another group of stuff. I mean, it's you can't understand it, I guess, until you actually do it. I don't know. You know what? If I were to paint small, I would have to use toothpicks. I would have to get like, so to get like a little toothpick, and then you like, or, well, maybe you could take the ends off of a Q-tip. So you take a Q-tip, you take off the soft ends of it, and then you dip it in the paint, and then you paint it that way. That's the only way I could feel I could do it. Because to use a brush, yeah, there are micro brushes and shit, but I would not use a micro brush. I'm sorry. It's just, there's no fucking way. Operation Briefing. A designer's commentary on Into the Dark. I don't know what that's about. Let's go forward a little bit. Now, there's more tiles for the campaign. Let me see this. I'm going to see the center one here. Once per battle round, when you face a raffle tactic stratagem, roll 1d6 on a 4 or more. That usage of that stratagem does not cost any CP. Some power. Some kind of power ability that you get. Look at these miniatures, like droids. What are these droids about? And amazing. Look at these figures here. There's lots of these. I mean, it's like muscle. Remember the... Oh, well, I have to address my 40-year-old fans here. Do you remember muscle wrestlers where they were like flesh colored, and then later on they had purple, orange, green colored? But they were like different shapes. Like each one was like unique, and each like get like one of a kind. And then that's what this feels like to me too. Yeah, it takes patience. You know what? If Henry gets an opportunity, I know he doesn't. I think he mostly uses Instagram. But if he ever has a YouTube channel, get a YouTube channel, Henry. You can even turn off the comments if you want. But show us the best ways to paint small figures. You know, I don't want to stick a magnifying glass on my eye. I don't want to be like the Penguin trying to paint these things, if I ever have to. But how dare I bastardize this man? I'm gonna get like downvotes already if I could ever see them. And these are doors, medical bay. Okay, so these are Into the Dark is packed full of exciting scenery that can be painted in a myriad of ways. So these are like different types of doors. So for the few of you that actually like Warhammer, this video is for you. This is great. And this is Age of Sigmar, the eternal war for the conquest of the mortal realms. So this one's more fantasy, I would say. And maybe it doesn't. Somebody will explain to me if Sigmar is a parallel universe or if it exists on the exact same timeline as 40K. I have a funny feeling, though, they probably exist in the same timeline. Or maybe it's a consequence of one action that it causes another timeline. Who knows? Desperate countermeasures. As the struggle for the Gurish heartlands intensifies, the strategies of Sigmar's folk become more bold to hold back the ever-advancing hordes of the Greenskins. Hosts of heavenly warriors, the Stormcast Eternals, descend into the fray, looking to strike down Orruk warlords and buy crucial time for mortal settlers to establish new outposts. Okay, so there's some lore there. I have no idea. It's all the same D&D gibberish to me. There's more of this, some more art. But let me see if there's more figures and little things. That's what most people probably go in there for. Savage Retribution. Don't know what that is. The hunt begins. What's a campaign arc? I see. I mean, somebody would have to... You know, here's another question. Henry, if you play the games, if you had to introduce a beginner, what's the campaign you would introduce them to? What would you introduce them to? That's if he's ever going to see this video. Rules of engagement. Are these more miniatures? Yeah. Oh, I like this ghost sort of Ichabod Crane, Sleepy Hollow type of thing here going on. That's kind of cool. This is part of the Age of Sigmar. And, yeah, so which campaign is the easiest campaign for dummies? Like, if you had to introduce them to. And then they could go from there. Yeah, this is the picture that we saw before. It's like this whole bridge set. It's kind of cool. It's the adult version of playing with your old toys. For me, it was Masters of the Universe. And I understand that lore. That one's a little easier to understand than this. Look at all this. It's like a giant play set. You know, if Warhammer came out in the early 80s, we were like, oh my god, I'm a fan of this stuff. But it's hard for me to really understand it. I wonder if Mark Bustler, classic game room guy, understands this stuff. Probably not. Here are from the Deeps, the Wild Hunt, Hogroth's Man Trappers. Who are these ladies here? Some of these are women. These are Amazons. The Blade Coven, Morgweth. These are Snarlfangs. And then these guys here are despoilers. I can't even see them. They're blurry and I can't unblur because I'm holding two different things here. So that's what they look like. Alright, so let's see. Let's go. Oh, I'm just gonna flip through to the end. I'm not gonna backtrack here because I don't know exactly what I'm looking for. So this is going back to... Oh, this is Underworld. Okay, this is Underworld. Is this connected or is this a separate universe? The Wormspat. Okay. We got Mongok's Kruhas and the God's Worm Hunt. And I have no idea what any of this stuff is. Sick Hits Wild Hunt. So this is all part of the... this is all part of the lore. So if you're into this, if you're into Underworld... I mean, I think 40K is probably the obviously has to be the original one, right? Oh, brush tips. Well, I don't use a brush. I'm sorry. I would not use a brush for this because if the figures are about an inch tall, there's no way I'm using a fucking brush. There's no way I'm using a brush. Yeah, this is Archmage Teclis and Selenar, Spirit of Heesh. Okay. It's like some people can recognize these things. To me, they all look the same, but I mean, whatever. I mean, just regal details, and I'm gonna go through this really quick. Oh, look at that! Now there's a giant play set right here. Take a look at that play set. This is the Wolf and the Lion Unleashed from Warhammer: The Horus Heresy. What? How many Warhammers are there? Holy shit! There's like 10,000 Warhammers. Oh my god. Now, I glossed through this book, but I have no idea how many there are. There's 20. I mean, I don't know. There's another one. It's another battleground. Okay. Now, old white fur. Okay, we're going to just go to the last page really quick. Here it is. This is The Lady of Vines by Matt Hudson. Okay, and then we got, look at these ships, they're like starfighters, right? Eldari Wind Raider. Wind Riders, not Wind Raiders. Don't want to confuse that with Man at Arms stuff. And let's end it with the Great Dragon here. What is this? Lots of Dragons by Sophie Bostock. So this is like just the paint job itself. I have no idea if these were custom figures, but I think they're all like... And what is this? What is this? What is this right here? Look at this. Look at this guy. It's like there's no limit to the number of kinds of characters that exist. I feel like if you had to populate the number of Warhammer characters, you would have the Earth's population of 7 billion. I think there's 7 billion types of characters in Warhammer. I really do. I mean, there's so, like, you could fill the entire Earth with every single, like, if to have every single one of every single kind would probably be 7 billion. If I'm wrong, you tell me. But you got Underworld, you got Sigmar, you got Horus, and you got 40K, and I think that's great. 480 issues. And that is the Season of Skirmish. I have no idea who these two guys are. Somebody will tell me in the comments. Hey, it's these guys. I don't know. So if you like this video, it's good enough for you. You see those buttons below, you know what to do. Happy 40th, Henry. And, you know, get those figures and paint those figures you wanted to paint. And call in sick to work.